What's up, Candy Lickers? Pleased to meet you. Nice to know me. What you doing? You listening to another edition of Casio'S Cut. And today I got my good friend coming to us live from Mississippi. Pinky fingers to the moon. Pond Water Dave. It started as Super Dave. Now it's Pond Water Dave. What's up, buddy?
Oh, living the dream. Just got in and worked hard today. Now I'm going to chill out and have fun hanging out with you for a little while.
Well, if you know of Pond Water Super Dave, it's probably from any of the Conrad Thompson podcast. You become a breakout star.
I'm just having fun. When you get us all together, it just comes out.
Well, we do
Great.
We do the Think Tank show on adfreeshows.com, which is now turned into Sad News Bears. But we also are in a Twitter group together. Conrad makes fun of you on every other one of his podcasts. He says you will not get corona because you are lathered up with Flamin' Hot Cheetos and Mountain Dew.
And it was funny because the day that he said that, I actually had Diet Mountain Dew and a bag of Flamin' Hot Cheetos. I mean,
you're sticking on brand, brother.
I mean, truth be told, I mean, it's the Flamin' Hot Funyuns that's my go-to.
Flamin' Hot Funyuns?
I love the Flamin' Hot Funyuns.
Do you like all Flamin' Hot chips?
They don't all work. It's the same, pretty much the same hot sauce, but like on the Doritos, they blister me. I can't eat them. They're too hot.
Really?
But the Cheetos are hot, but they're really good. The Funyuns, it just mixes with that onion perfect. That's my favorite one.
Our chip connoisseur here is
Chef's kiss.
All right, people can tell if they're watching on our YouTube channel. If you're not, go subscribe, Casio'S Cut, and then find the Casio'S Cut channel and subscribe. You're a little bit of a wrestling fan.
Just a little bit. Something that I became passionate about as a teenager, actually. I watched it when I was a little kid with my mom. She'd show it to me because Granddad used to take her to the matches. But when Saturday Night Live started coming on, I gravitated to watching Saturday Night Live instead of Saturday Night Wrestling. But I was 16 when I rediscovered it.
And this is in Dallas, right?
Right. I grew up. I've only been in Mississippi for 10 years.
So you consider yourself a Texas guy?
Born and bred. I'm like what Dr. Tom Pritchard says. He says he's a Texas champ stuck in Tennessee. I'm a Texas champ stuck in Mississippi.
You got to defend the title somewhere. All right, so at 16 you come back to wrestling fandom. What got you back into wrestling fandom?
My little brother, he was watching it one night when I got home from work, and Ric Flair was on, and he was going to have a big match with Kerry Von Erich, and Ric Flair was doing Ric Flair things, and he kind of was rubbing me wrong, but I was teasing my brother, hey, that's fake, and Mom was telling me to leave him alone because my little brother's 8 years younger than me.
Mm-hmm.
And as the night went on, I watched the rest of it, and he'd explain it to me what was going on, and I told him, I said, if you'll clean my bedroom for me, I'll take you to those matches tomorrow night.
Whoa.
And it was a big match down at Reunion Arena. And I had no intentions of taking him. I was, I knew I couldn't get out of the house until my room was clean. But that boy went in there and he cleaned it spotless. And Mom looked at me and said, you're going to take him. So we went down there and I bought
tickets?
Probably $25 each. It wasn't.
Oh, that's big.
It wasn't. I mean, it was 1982, but I don't remember it being a great deal of money.
Okay.
But we got
decent seats.
Last row, all the way at the top. All the way at the top. And I guess we were lucky we got tickets. But there was all kinds. I mean, Harley Race and Ric Flair were on the first show I ever went to, and I had no idea who Harley Race was.
That's strong.
So by the end of the night, I was all in as a wrestling fan. I mean, I was yelling and screaming, and of course, Kerry got screwed. Flair got out with the title, and my throat. I was coughing up blood. I yelled so much, my throat was raw.
Yeah.
So
how many people are in that place? How many reunion hold?
about 19,000.
Oh, it's a huge place.
Yeah, it was an NBA basketball stadium.
Oh, okay.
It was prior to the American Airlines Center.
Oh, okay. That's what I know it as.
Yeah,
So this is big boy.
Yeah, they built the American Airlines Center and tore down, imploded Reunion Arena.
So then you're a fan.
Oh yeah.
Do you immediately start collecting stuff, or are you just a fan, like a normal fan?
No, just a normal fan. Back then, we didn't have anything to collect. I mean, you go to the merch stand and you could get 8x10s of wrestlers. That's about it. T-shirts really weren't even a thing back then.
Did you get any merch that night?
They got a program. We bought a program.
Still got it?
I don't have now. I've got that program, but I acquired it again later.
You got it later down the road. I was going to say that would have been the piece right there if you had the original program.
I wish I'd have kept all those programs back then.
Yeah. All of us look back on everything we've went to and God, if I would have just saved some of that stuff.
We weren't thinking about it. I think the only promo pics I had a picture of David Von Erich with the Texas belt over his shoulder. He was my favorite.
So you're a big Von Erich guy. We tease you about it, but you're insert twist.
Well, I mean, the Von Erichs were great, but truthfully, when the Freebirds got there, I really was into the Freebirds.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, if they weren't fighting the Von Erichs, and then sometimes when they were, I was into the Freebirds.
They were over.
I mean, Hayes was cool. Gordy was a beast, and Buddy Roberts was the one I thought I could take if I needed to.
Oh, really?
Yeah. You always thought you could take Buddy, but recently I did this Von Erich wall. It's Von Erich's in world class. I'm still adding. I got some stuff coming from Missy Hyatt after this weekend.
Okay.
But I posted it and tagged Kevin in it, and Kevin reached out to me and let me know how much he liked it. And he's got a piece of memorabilia that he's going to send me.
Oh, that's going to be clutch, dude.
And I mean, y'all know in the group, I was like, guys, I can't believe this. I can't believe this. And if it came off exciting in a group chat, you can only imagine how I was running around the house.
What do you know what it is, or he just said he's going to send you something?
Yeah, it's a 1966 Dallas Times Herald newspaper. And his father was on the cover of the Sunday magazine. And it was a young Fritz Von Erich, because, I mean, I was born in 66. That was 54 years ago. Woo. So, but Fritz had the claw. He was fixing to put it on somebody. I don't know who it was. And Kevin said it wasn't just the Sunday magazine. They actually did that was like an insert. I guess several cities did those. But he said that the newspaper had a huge article about his father as well.
So that's gonna be clutch, right? Do you have a space picked out for it?
Probably going to go under the glass on top of my bar.
Okay.
It's hard to display a Sunday newspaper. Those things were that thick.
Is your table rotate any? Or is it hard to rotate your camera? I was going to see if we could get a 360 of the room.
I can't rotate the table, but I can rotate the computer.
See, this is you
I'm
call
picking
it your
up
man
an
cave?
iMac. Yes. Oh, man, hang on.
Don't drop
tea. Oh, crap. It's in the phone. Don't. So there's the bar.
Yeah.
And then behind the bar, I've got my alcohol and a few collectibles. And then on that wall over there, I've got some shelving with some belts. And then on the top, I got my referee shirts.
We're going to talk about that in a second.
And then over there's my Ric Flair wall.
Woo! Yeah. Looking good. We got rose belts, pictures.
Yeah, and then down over in that corner is my Charlotte Flair wall. And then behind
over here, you got a spilt tea.
Yeah.
Are you gonna set your computer back down in tea?
No, I got it out away from the tea.
Okay.
Steph,
is it
Stephen?
What's that? Is it on the keyboard?
Oh yeah, Stephanie heard me say I spilled tea, and bless her, bless her heart, she jumped up and ran in here, and
If
she had
you're
a root canal today, and the pain medicine's wearing off.
Dave,
Dave's
you're
in trouble.
killing her. Yeah, Dave's in trouble after this. That's what I get for asking you to move your computer.
Well,
now you don't have a drink for the rest of the show. This is gonna be bad. Look,
no,
you made me thirsty.
Had a lid on it. We're good. It just
You had a lid, but still spilled it.
A little bit. The whole table's covered.
And it's everywhere. All right. If you're watching on YouTube, you can see the chaos at Dave's house right now.
Chaos and bedlam.
Over his shoulder, we can see all your figures. Is that all your figures? You got more somewhere?
I've got more on the other side of the room. Like on the top shelf up there's all my Ric Flairs. Over there is all my Charlotte Flairs, and then by some of the belts, like my Stone Cold, I've got Stone Cold, like a Stone Cold Pop.
But you don't have any like put up in a box somewhere.
Oh yeah, I've got Jim
Oh,
Cornette I got Jim Cornette autographed. I've got Brother Love autographed, and I've got Ember Moon. And one of my trips to Dallas, I'll go see them and I'll get her to autograph it because I've known her for 15 years. She started in Dallas about the same time I started refereeing.
She's excellent.
Yeah, her husband now trained at PCW where I started, and we all used to play flag football up until about 2010. Well, we played flag football up until I moved.
Wow.
I've got a picture around here with Ember Moon, you know, when she was Athena.
Oh, that's killer.
But
you're still getting cleaned up over there.
Oh yeah.
You spilled it everywhere.
Oh.
It's chaos.
Oh. Thank you, baby. I'm sorry. I won't do it again until I do it again. Then I'll say I'm sorry again.
Can't. The podcast should be this conversation you're going to have too, or after this podcast is over. All right. So let's talk about this. You start growing in your fandom and then you decide to try to get into the business.
Yeah. 1984. I was 18 years old. I went in downtown Dallas. And that because I'd heard that's where there's a lot of training went on. Akbar was there.
Your mic cut out just a little bit. It was what in Dallas?
It was where they trained in Dallas. A lot of the wrestlers worked out at Doug's gym.
Doug's gym, okay.
It was the old boxing gym. You walk in and go up some stairs, and it was just there was a ring, and then there was a hole in a wall, and there was another ring, and I went up
typical
there.
movie style, gritty boxing.
Oh yeah,
gym.
straight out of Rocky.
Yeah,
and they did a lot of train for the Golden Gloves there a lot. But I went down there because I want to be a referee. I mean, I knew at 5'5", buck 40, I wasn't going to be a wrestler. So, they promptly showed me the door. I mean, it wasn't like you just couldn't walk in and say, "Hey, I want to be a referee." And say, "We're going
can't just be a referee."
to work. It didn't happen. No, they weren't even interested in telling me what I needed to do to pursue it. And
wow.
And so back to the grocery store. I mean,
So you're working at the neighborhood grocery store.
Yeah, my family has a grocery store. Granddad opened it in 1957. And when I was 4 years old, my uncle owns it now. It's still there.
Nice.
I had my own mop sawed off when I was 4. I was putting up stock, stocking groceries, and at 11 years old, Dad put me on the cash register.
Well, you've told us you've told us on the latest Sad News Bears, you got in fights with shoplifters there.
Oh yeah. I mean, not until I got a little older, but I mean, not at 11, I wasn't jumping on anybody, but
so they put you in security at 12 or what?
I mean, if you saw somebody shoplift, I mean, you just, hey, I got one, and the butchers would come running from the back of the store, and Dad would come running out of the office. And
I got one.
I mean, they normally grab them and hem them up and get your stuff back. And sometimes we let them go. Sometimes we called the police. But and then sometimes they wanted to fight, and I don't know how many it would take to whip their ass, but I know how many we used.
As many as it took. Right?
It was it never went well. Let me tell you this one story. This guy came in, and he was a quick change artist, and he got me for $20. I think I was 12. I was 12 years old, and he came back the next day.
Wait, what's his move? Tell everybody his move. What's his move?
I can't remember. He gave me the 20 and said, "Hey, let me see that." And anyway, he managed to keep the money and keep his money and change. So he probably got me for 40. Well, no, he got me for 20. He got to keep his 20 and got change.
Okay.
But he came back the next day and tried it again, and he gave me that 20, and I popped the cash drawer and threw the 20 under the drawer and closed the door and said, "You can give me nothing." Well, he's getting mad. And I'm insisting. He didn't give me nothing. Well, he starts yelling at my dad, and he starts cussing about me. And my dad said, "Did he do it?" I said, "No, he's lying, Dad. Some bitch got me yesterday. I didn't give nothing. He didn't give me anything." And I mean, I stood to the story. Well, it escalated. And anyway, he grabbed onto my dad. My dad grabbed onto him, and they started fighting. And my brother-in-law came running up. My brother-in-law's a big guy. Anyway, my dad and my brother-in-law ended up whipping this guy's ass, but they took a pretty good ass whooping from him. They almost
really.
Oh yeah. Well, they come back in the store, and you could tell they've been in a fight, and I'm laughing. And Dad said, my dad said, "What the hell's so funny?" And I said, "That's the guy that got me yesterday. He came in, tried it again. I took the money, threw it in the register, and told him and swore that he didn't give me nothing." And Dad said, "If you're going to do something like that, you got to tell me what the deal is." And he snatched me from behind that register and whipped my ass.
You cost him an ass whooping almost.
Oh yeah. It wasn't almost.
And it wasn't worth $20. Was it? No,
was
for you it was worth 20, not for
well,
your dad.
because I got even. And, you know, but I didn't even get in trouble for the quick change. Dad said everybody's got to learn, you know.
Right.
And then I learned. I got $1 million education. It cost me $20. So it was
Tales from the grocery store.
Oh man, we used to have a guy come in. His name was Travis, and Travis was a pimp.
A pimp?
A pimp? No, actually, legitimate working pimp.
Well, it's hard out there for a pimp.
Oh, and Travis told me one time he showed me with a coat hanger how you fold up a coat hanger so you could beat a hoe to get your money.
Oh my gosh!
And he had one working for him named Marcia. To me, Marcia was well over 6 feet tall. Marcia.
To you.
I mean, she was tall, slender.
Oh, Marcia came in. You saw her.
Oh yeah. Marcia
I
came
thought
in.
you meant based on his stories.
Marcia came in, used to trying to sell it to me at 12 years old.
Sell it to me.
Tried to tell me how good it was going to be. That I didn't need to wait.
Was Marcia good? I know she's tall. She's over 6 foot. Was she good looking?
She wasn't bad. But she wore these, I'll never forget, she wore these the red silk satin shorts like they would wear to the skating rings. I mean, I don't know if you remember what people wore skating rings in the 70s during the roller boogie era.
Okay.
But she'd wear like a crop top and the booty shorts and
like the tube top.
Yeah.
Oh
and
yeah.
She'd come in and she'd mess with me. She'd reach over, ground her like she's gonna try to grab me, and my dad just thought that was so funny. And I'm horrified because I didn't have any game at 12 years old.
Did you come back and talk to her when you was 18? Did you go looking for Marcia?
No. But she came in one night and she was telling my sister. My sister started working down there, and she knew we right after we'd had a problem with a shoplifter, and it was a woman, and she was trying to tell us that you got to be careful with these women because they carry knives, and it may not look like they got anything in their pockets, but this is. And she grabbed her shorts, and she jerked him sideways, and she pulled the
Okay.
knife out. She pulled the knife out of her pooty poo. And my sister's like looking like she's not believing this. And I think I was like 13, 14, and I'm seeing pooty poo in person.
You don't care about the knife. You're looking at the goods.
And a knife came out of it. And I'm like, oh,
How big a knife?
about that size. It's a good
Big
size
knife.
one that she popped out.
Wait, like a
Wasn't
switchblade or fold
It wasn't a
out?
switchblade. It was fold out. But it was
But
probably that long.
I mean, thankfully it was folded, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, she pulled it out already. Already
So-
ready to cut.
Oh, she said that's where she kept hers. And I'm like, I can't believe this. And if I wish I had $1 every time Dad said, don't say nothing to your mom about that.
That's another $1 million lesson you got right there.
Yeah, don't say nothing to your mom. She's not going to let you come down here and work anymore.
Well, that's awesome.
So-
I wish she was out there somewhere.
There's no
Maybe
telling.
she's so you got turned down from wrestling school. You're back at the grocery store.
ain't
Are
going
you
to college.
like defeated? Like, I can't believe they turned me down. And you're like, that's how it happens. What are you doing?
I wasn't defeated about it. I mean, I asked, and they were pretty emphatic that I wasn't getting in, so I accepted it. And
Right.
but then I started college too, so I was working and going to school.
And then when do you go, all right, I'm gonna give this a run again?
Oh, that didn't happen until 1995. So I was 39 years old,
Okay.
and my little brother was working 24-hour fitness, and one of the trainers there was a local indie wrestler. He was wrestling named Chad Murphy, I think. Murphy had 4-leaf clover gimmick. It was Murphy.
Okay.
And anyway, he said, we're going to go out here to this place called PCW in Arlington, and we're going to watch Chad wrestle. I said, well, I won't go. We get out there, and I'm watching, and they have guys that are wrestling there. And the Friday night show was pretty much their school. They bring some of their Saturday night talent in to wrestle the main events, but the school, that's how they got better, is that on Friday night, what they had called PCW Uncut. On Saturday night was I think Fully Loaded. Can't remember now, but anyway, we were there, and there was guys wrestling that were my size and smaller. And I'm thinking,
Okay.
it kind of got me thinking. Well, I was already friends through belt collecting with a guy named Mike Page, and him and Joey Corman were the Overboys, and they'd been
The Overboys.
the Overboys, and they'd
Nice.
wrestled, all through the South to Georgia, up to Georgia and Missouri, and I mean they made the loop. And I went to go see them one night. I was selling Mike a belt, and I went out and we sat there at this restaurant that we met at, and we talked for about 3 hours. And they were telling
Mike
me
is just a belt collector. Do we know Mike?
Mike Page.
Okay.
He does the Overboys podcast.
Okay.
You've probably heard me and Jay-Z talk about the Overboys podcast. Drops every Friday.
There you go.
So anyway, Mike and Joey are there, and they're telling me how terrible being a wrestler is. They're telling me all these horror stories, but what they're doing is they're telling all these road stories, and it sounds fabulous.
Yeah, that's the fun part.
So now I'm convinced that forget being a referee, because I was in pretty good shape at 39 years old.
Right.
I'm gonna go to wrestling school. So Mike told me where to go, where I wouldn't get hurt, and they'd take care of me, wouldn't screw me. So I went to PCW in Arlington, and I started out with a guy named BJ Turner. He was the cruiserweight killer.
Yeah. What a great name.
So I was training with BJ for about a month, and then BJ had a falling out with management. And then I started training with Lance Hoyt, who's Lance Archer, the Murder Hawk now.
He's in AEW.
Right. So I was training with Lance. Well,
Who's a giant man.
yeah. Well, BJ gave me a rib. He told me that shaving your underarms isn't uncommon. when you start training. They tell you shave your arm because you're gonna put somebody in a headlock. You don't want that. Wasn't no big deal. But I had chest hair and hair on my stomach,
Okay.
and he said you need to get rid of that too. He said I suggest you go get it waxed, and you won't have to shave it. Well, that was a rib because I went and got it waxed, and it hurt. I mean, the 40-year-old virgin, when he yells "El Kelly Clarkson," it does not even. Well, that's all I could think about when you and Jimbo did that.
Yeah.
I thought Jimbo was handling it like a trooper.
He cussed a lot off air. Yeah.
Yeah. They said we're going to do this where it don't hurt. And I'm thinking, nah, that's bullshit. It hurts. So while I was there.
You got the whole torso waxed.
Oh, yeah. But while I'm there, I went ahead and I got my hair dyed.
Oh, yeah.
Because I was starting to get gray. So I went ahead and got my hair dyed because I didn't want to look like all them kids' fathers when I was up there. So BJ,
did you just go black or did you go some highlights? What'd you go with?
There was some highlights in it.
Some frosted tips.
It wasn't frosted. It was kind of like auburn. It had when the light hit it, you could see it.
All right.
But so anyway, BJ left and I started training with Lance. Well, Lance didn't have any idea. He never asked me how old I was. And with no gray in my hair, I mean, yeah, I looked like I was in my 20s.
And he was how old?
Lance.
Yeah. Young. He had to be young, right?
Well, it was 15 years ago. I guess he's got to be in his 20s. He had to be 25, okay. 24, 25. Right. So I quit training for a little while because my marriage fell apart. So I left because I was dealing with that. Mm-hmm. So once, it was an unsavable situation, I decided to go back to train. Well, I went and I'd shaved my head since then. So when I came back, I had gray growth. I mean, I had gray hair. And he asked me, he said, Dave, how old are you? And I told him, 40, 42. 41. And he said, I'm not trying to discourage you from wrestling, but have you ever thought about maybe being a referee? Because for Lance, he wasn't there to teach me how to hobby it on the weekend. His job was to teach me how to make money in pro wrestling.
How to advance.
Right. And he felt like my path where I could make the greatest contribution and earn money would be as a referee. And there's a shortage of referees. I mean, there's more bad ones than good ones. Mm-hmm. And I'm not crapping on indie referees. It's just how it is because there's no focus on teaching them how to get better. So they asked me, and at the time they were going to do an invasion angle with Southwest Premier Wrestling, which was Mike Page's promotion. They were going to invade PCW Uncut. And originally the idea was they were going to put me in there and they were going to make me a heel referee. Well, I guess they liked the job I was doing as a legit referee because they killed that. There wasn't going to be a heel referee. And,
it wasn't an angle. It was just being a ref.
Yeah. And I quickly realized being a referee, instead of being out one time for 5 to 10 minutes, I'm out there 3-4 times a night. And sometimes I'm the only ref. So I'm out there all night and I can't get enough of it when right. Being in the ring is great. So that's how that went. And,
so are you Super Dave? Is that what you're going by? Or are you just going by your name?
I started going by Super Dave. At first it was Dave, and then the announcer asked me one time, said, "What's your name?" I said, Super Dave. Because I'd heard other referees with nicknames, so. But they go, they're gonna torch you for that, and I said, they're not going to torch me for that. They're going to start hollering it here in a minute, and they sure did.
Super Dave is born.
Because PCW had a rowdy section.
A rowdy section.
Yeah, you could get tickets in the rowdy section, and the rowdies knew they knew all of us. So, I mean, it's kind of like that night we went to
Hazel Green.
And yeah, when we went over there, and I'm trying to remember the name of the promotion.
Was that Rocket City Wrestling?
Rocket City Wrestling. It was Rocket City. we went
Yeah.
over Rocket City, and we all were, turn around, Doug, turn around,
Turn
Doug.
around, Doug.
And that's, we were the rowdy section that night. So that took me back.
Somehow when our group gets together, we're always the rowdy section somewhere.
Oh yeah, without question.
All right, so you're in the business, and you end up reffing until this year, right?
Yeah, I hung it up in January. I started taking my grandkids. My grandkids started showing an interest in wrestling. We were watching it when they come over to the house, and then I take them to the matches. And there's something about what my granddaughter loves to yell. I mean, she'll tear them apart. And I mean, she screams, and people move away from her because she squeals so much. And I mean, when you watch a 10-year-old, a 8, 9-year-old, she just turned 10 today actually. When you watch kid, that's how I want to watch wrestling, through the eyes of a kid. So I started really enjoying watching her enjoy it. And my grandson enjoys it too. He'll come back here in the man cave and he'll start asking me questions. He'll point to a picture and he'll ask a million questions about it. And I'll eat it up.
Yeah, I mean, your room's a history lesson in there.
And he's learning, about Ric Flair and Kevin Von Erich and the Iron Claw. And we had an in-depth discussion about why Ric Flair was bleeding the way he was bleeding. So I just got to a point where if I'm in the ring, I can't enjoy watching my grandkids. And I was always told, if you get to a point before you go through the curtain that you don't have goosebumps, then it's time to quit doing it. And
that was it.
It started really becoming a chore. There was one time I drove 6 hours to work a show and turned around, drove 6 hours back.
Ooh.
And I did it for $10.
Wait, did you know it was 10 going in?
I did.
Oh, so on the ride back, you're like, what am I doing? Or is that when you were still loving it?
No, I was still pumped up about it. Main event was a guy named Scott Summers against Mike DiBiase. And
I take it he's Ted's
he's
son?
he's the one they don't talk about.
Okay.
He's been in a lot of trouble. But yeah.
Where was that at? Was it in the state?
I mean,
it
was like northwest Texas.
All right.
I can't remember the town anymore. It's been a long time.
So it's like the comedy. If you just want to get shows under your belt. You just want to do it for the love of the game.
But the town had come out as like a benefit for a kid, and there was like 900 people there, and they packed out that place, and it was the first time Scott Summers and Mike DiBiase called it all. They called it all in the ring, and that was the first time that I'd been in the ring with somebody that didn't plan what they were going to do.
What'd you think about it?
I was eating it up because they were telling me they were using me. It was the first time I'd been used. Hey, go tell him I'm to do this.
In the wrestling ring.
Right. So
you've been used plenty of times, Pondwater.
Oh, I'm used up. Which I'll see on your screen tonight is a beaten down, hollowed out shell of what once was a man. Women used me up a long time ago. Oh.
So when you look back on it, as you've retired now, what if you said, I wish that was on camera. I wish if somebody said, what's your career in a match or maybe a night, what would you pick? Like, what was your favorite? What stands out?
There's 3. Well, anytime I went to Houma, Louisiana, it stands out because those people down there are diehard.
Right, so
the first time I went, they told me when I got there one time that Houma, Louisiana has one brain and they all take turns using it. But I was down there one night and I was new down there, and it was Christian Blake was going against I can't remember who he was against now, but anyway, the good guy. Oh, Houston Carson. So
I was going to eat you up if you didn't think.
I know it, but
I saw you getting frustrated.
well, I'm in the back, and the finish happens, and they're in the ropes, and the referee counts 3, and the good guy got screwed. I mean, the bad guy got screwed, but the good guy had him in the ropes. I mean, the bad guy was in the ropes, and they didn't stop it. So I was told to go out there and tell the referee what happened. So I do it, and they reverse the decision. And the crowd is not having it. And there was this woman, and she said, "They need to take your old ass back to wherever they found you. I better not see you outside. I hope you fucking die." Well,
And this is a grown woman.
oh yeah,
This isn't
older
like a
than me.
kid popping
Older
off.
than no, this is Meemaw.
Yeah.
This is a Meemaw. So
Yeah.
so I walk around to go back to the back, and my wife's taking pictures at ringside because anytime we go, she'd offer to take pictures because the boys love it when they can get promo pictures out of her, action shots. So as I'm walking by her, because my dumb ass has a personalized license plate that says NWA Ref.
Oh, gosh.
Well, so I'm parked out there with the crowd. So I told her, I said, "Hey, I'm going to need you to go out there and get that truck and pull it at the back door because they're wanting to kill me." There was another woman that tried to come up, and security stopped her and made her go back to her seat.
Oh, gosh. She was in. She really was coming to find
Well,
you.
it was a different woman.
Oh, a different woman tried to find you.
2 women were going to kill me over that. I mean, it was, and I love that. I'm not scared. I love
every bit of it.
I ate it up. But there was one time in Sulphur Springs, Paris, Texas, and Robert Evans, R.D. Evans, in Ring of Honor, Archibald, I can't remember what he's had several gimmicks. He recently quit WWE. It may have been at their Evolution pay-per-view. Walked up, wrote a piece of paper, "I quit," and gave it to Vince.
Wow.
Because I think Vince dressed him down pretty good.
Woo.
Or no, it was the Hall of Fame. It was the Hall of Fame with Vince got mentioned. Bret Hart mentioned Vince. Yeah, that's what. But he quit. It was pretty public. But anyway, Robert Evans was still wrestling at the time, and he was wrestling this guy named Wally Dartman, and it was for the light heavyweight belt. And as soon as the match started, Evans would wear tights and shorts over tights. Well, tights over trunks over tights. Well, Wally shorted him just as soon as the match started. rolled him up. I count 1, 2, 3. Match is over, just like that. Well, Evans is complaining because he goes, he didn't just have my tights; they're around my ankles. Well, their commissioner came up and we talked, and we decided, I didn't see it. We'll start the match over again, and they go 30 minutes, and they got the crowd in the palm of their hand. I mean, Wally's over. Wally is over. They hate Robert Evans. Wally is over. And the finish is schoolboy. Roll up. 2 handful of tights. I'm over there looking at the shoulders. 1, 2, 3. It's over. And so now Wally's complaining that he had the tights. And I said, I didn't see it. And the crowd is into it. And there's no ropes. And the crowd's kind of pushing up to the ring. And they're yelling at me, and there's a little girl crying. She's
crying.
And Wally said, "Come here, little girl. Tell that referee what you saw." And she goes, "You can't do that. You." And then a grown woman came up, and she's yelling, and a man came up, and he's yelling, and I mean, it's genuine heat. Heat is a drug. I mean,
you are loving it.
I'm eating it up. Because this whole crowd is 100% bought in. Well, the ring announcer whispers to me, says, "Go over and yank the belt away from Evans. Come back and say we're going to hold it up, and that'll be the main event next month." So I run out of the ring, and I go over and I grab the belt from Evans, and we do like a tug of war, and I get it from him, and I said, "No, I'm holding it up." And anyway, so that's how then they set up the next the rematch. And there was one more match, and I never been to that building before, and I parked out front. So
you got bad parking.
So I grabbed my bag, and everybody said, "Good night, everybody." And I ducked out during the main event because I wasn't going out there with that crowd.
That's
And then,
amazing.
and then at PCW, we had a wrestler named Franco D'Angelo, and
Okay.
and Franco, jacked up body, the long hair. Um, I mean, like Fabio type looks. I mean, he was over with the ladies. Well, he was also a stripper that danced at
Okay.
La Bear in Dallas, which was where all the women went, the women's strip club. And
La Bear.
so they came out to see him, and so there was a large crowd to see Franco of women.
Wait, so like his stripper fans?
Yes.
Yeah, not just
when
about the wrestling.
When he's dancing
Yeah.
for them, he's telling them, "Hey, I also wrestle on the y'all come to the show."
Oh yeah.
So he was a good draw, and because they found out if they put him on early, the crowd would leave. So when he was main
That's
event,
hilarious.
they'd stay. So they had a match, and Mike Page was the manager of this monster called Bash. Kane like huge guy. I think he still wrestles as a character called Hardicus now. But Bash is huge, and they're fighting, and it's a title match, and Page, the referee, gets bumped. There's no ref, and he gets the golf club, and he hits Bash, and Bash is down, and Franco's getting it, and he can't. Nobody's there to count the pin, so they get up and they get to going, and then Franco gets hit with the golf club, and he's down. All of a sudden, I come busting through the curtain, hit there, slide in the ring. 1, 2, 3. Bash wins, new champion.
Oh.
Franco finally comes to and gets up, and he's pleading with me, and I don't see it, and he's pleading with me, and the crowd's yelling, and they're rabid, and he gives me a boot to the gut, picks me up, does the F5, lays me right down. F5, I'm down on the mat, and I hear, "He deserved it." And I'm just laying there trying not to smile because it's like the greatest feeling. So
is that the hardest bump you ever took?
No. I didn't feel a thing on that one. Actually, Tim Storm got bumped me, and I went flying into the ropes, and that hurt. That hurt a lot. The way I caught him and fell.
Did you fall out, or you just got tangled up in them?
Well, I got tangled up in them. I ended up rolling out.
God.
I mean,
That was your worst bump?
that's the one I remember being the worst.
Did you ever take a chair shot?
I got thrown into chairs. like they took me and threw me, and I landed in, barrel rolled into the chairs.
I'll be honest with you. I would love to throw you into a pile of chairs.
Charlie Haas busted my nose once.
Doing what?
They were outside the ring. He was Charlie Haas versus Lance Archer, and I went out of the ring, and I kind of tapped him on the shoulder to, "Hey, let's get it back in the ring." And he backhanded, "Get your hand off of me." But when he did, he caught me right in the nose, and it started bleeding. And I mean, I'm bleeding, and I can't hardly breathe. Nose is full of blood. It was.
How much longer was the match?
Probably 10 minutes.
Oh, you had some work to do then.
Yeah.
Did he apologize?
Yeah. It was all right. So, but normally when I work the show, the first question I ask the promoter is, "Am I going to get the bump tonight?"
Nice.
I love to take bumps.
So you were in on all that. That's what I'd want to do if I was a ref. I'd want to be all that.
And
I need the heat. I need the bumps. I need all of it.
And I think only one time did I actually get bumped for real. Got in the way, got crushed in the corner.
All right, so let's talk about this. You've got your career, you've got the Stripes career, and you mentioned going in to being a ref that you were already belt collecting.
Oh, yeah, I started belt collecting in late 98, 99. I found the Yahoo.
Did you have a belt collecting nickname?
Super Day. Oh, the belt. Later, it became the Belt Pope.
The Belt Pope.
The Belt Pope. I'll put a
all right,
picture.
so you got a picture of it? You got to send it to us.
Well,
so you use.
Yeah, I'll send you a picture. It's there's a guy in the groups named Shane Kovac. Shane Kovac made a Photoshop. He put my face on the Pope, and he put the Vegas Big Gold on top of the Pope's staff, and put Pope Super Dave.
All right. So what gets you into it?
I always liked the belts.
Yeah.
I was a huge fan of the belts. The first belt that I ever saw that I liked was on the back of a Pro Wrestling Illustrated. They used to sell a thing called the Wrestling Album, and it was just picture book. But there was a picture of Ricky Steamboat with the Mid-Atlantic belt. That white Mid-Atlantic belt really stood out because it was different than all the other wrestling belts that you'd find at the time. Well, I mean, you couldn't get belts back then, and didn't know who made them or how to get them. But I saw an ad for a NWA Dome Globe belt from Figures Inc. And I love the NWA Dome Globe belt because that's the one that was the belt that got me into being a wrestling fan.
Right.
And so I bought it, and it came, and it wasn't, I mean, by today's standards, it was just felt like a plastic strap, pleather.
Yeah.
Didn't have the grommets, but it was the NWA belt, and I got it over my shoulder, and I'm strutting around like I'm Billy Badass.
You're loving it.
I'm loving it. And then I found the Yahoo belt collecting group. And then I started meeting a lot of the friends that I still have today were in that group before it left Yahoo and went to a normal forum. But Figures Inc. had got a deal with WWE, and they came out with the Big Eagle and the Intercontinental. And immediately I ordered it as soon as it was available. Got it from a guy named David Korn. He was a vendor for Figures. He was the main vendor for Figures Inc. at the time. And
you better not have the COVID. Is this your final Corona interview? Temperature okay?
Temperature's good. I got tested last Thursday though.
Did you?
I did.
How was that? Nose swab?
Oh yeah, felt like stabbed me in the brain. But so anyway, I ordered these belts. I got the Big Eagle. I've got the Oval Intercontinental belts, and I got them in time and we took them to WrestleMania 17 with us. So I let my brother carry the Intercontinental, and I carried the Big Eagle, and nobody else had them. At Access, they actually showed them. These are coming soon. So we got them right out of the gate. Had yours. Yeah. So I didn't see anybody else there with them. And it was people coming up, hey, can I take a picture with it? And I was happy with the belt until I stood in line and spent $10 for a charity that WWE had to take a picture with a ring-used Big Eagle. And
and you're like, oh, mine ain't that good.
So I peeled it up, and I'm like, it's heavy. And I'm really impressed because Rock's, he's on the top rope slinging it, and
yeah,
this is a heavy belt. And I bet you've probably held it, so because we know where it lives now.
There's heavy belts out there, yes. We'll say that.
And so after that point, I'm thinking, man, I got to figure out how to get a real belt. And through the Yahoo groups, we learned about Jamar. Well, Jamar had an attitude problem, and he says, I don't, it's art, and art takes time. And if you're in a hurry or you just want a cookie cutter or whatever the verbiage was, he put Reggie Parks' website and phone number on his website. You can call them.
So for those that don't know, wait, time out. So some people in here are not big belt people. Jamar, talk about who Jamar is just real quick.
Jamar became the belt collector for the WWF in the Attitude Era. He made the Big Eagle belt, the one he had, the blue one that Stone Cold had. He made Stone Cold's Rattlesnake belt. He made the Intercontinental title. He's
actually being commissioned by the WWE to make these belts for him.
Yes.
Okay.
That job had previously been held by Reggie Parks, who is the king of belts. Reggie started making belts in the 70s because he didn't like the belts, and he made him and his tag team partner a set of belts because they didn't want to carry his trophy around. and
Okay.
his belts were nicer. His belts were nicer than what the world champion belts were. So they actually told him, said, "Hey, we're not taking belts out if y'all are going to take y'all's out." Because so Reggie started making belts for promotions,
Strong.
and pretty much every iconic belt you grew up seeing, more often than not, Reggie was the maker of them. He made the Winged Eagle belt that Hulk Hogan had. He made the '86, the Andre belt, the classic Intercontinental title that the Honky Tonk Man and Savage Steamboat, the tags with the Bulldogs, and Reggie made all these belts for him. He made all the belts for the Crockett's, Florida, all the territories, world class belts, the Mid South. He did them all, and
So then Jamar takes over.
right. But Jamar doesn't want to be bothered, so you won't go see Reggie. Well, that's when I learned about Reggie, and you could get belts from Reggie, or you could get belts from Dave. Because then I learned about Dave Milliken. There was
Dave
a collector,
Milliken?
and then a collector came along by that time. His name was his screen name was Belt Stud, and he had a web TV website that was belts, and so that's how we all, pretty much all of us that came in the hobby, went through him. That's how we learned where to go buy belts from. So I talked to Ed Schumann, and I picked out a belt off of Reggie's site that I wanted. It was a Texas light heavyweight belt. And I paid $800 or $900 for it.
Mm-hmm.
And 6 weeks later, I had my first real belt.
You were pumped.
So it was, and I still collected all the Figures Inc. belts. I mean, I was getting those every time they'd release the ECWs. I'd get them. If they released new WWE belts, I was getting them. But then I'd start ordering, then we had a bulletin board that we were all in the hobby, and I met, I was buying, heck, I bought a lot of belts that Mike Page owned from Russ Miller before I ever met Mike Page. The belts were 40 miles from me. I could have drove and bought them directly from Page. I was going through the middleman because Russ had all these connections and could peddle these belts for him.
So first you're buying ones that are replicas basically, but made by the real people, right?
Well, yeah, my first one was, I didn't realize that Texas light heavyweight design had been used in Texas. I just wanted a Texas light heavyweight because, I mean, it was a stretch to call me a light. I was light. It was more light than heavy. But so, my Billy Badass belt. But then I bought, I got an NWA belt, and I got, I was buying a world-class Texas belt like Gino Hernandez had. And then I bought the world-class 6-man and the tag and the world and the American. I mean, I had them all. And then there was phases where somebody said, "Hey, I got a belt for sale," and I'd buy the belt and play with it for 2 or 3 weeks and then turn around and sell it and buy another one. But back then you could buy them. They were expensive, but they weren't like right now. If you tried to buy Reggie Parks' belt, it's going to be $3,000 to $5,000, $3,000 on the low end. $5,000 is probably what you're going to pay if you want one from Reggie.
Okay.
So back then we were turning them, $800 to $1,200. $15 was expensive.
What do you think the most at one time? How many belts was the most
that I had?
Yeah.
At my high point, I had 45.
Jeez,
45 of them at the time.
Oh.
And then I sold them. Then I sold them all. And
all
I've got
of them.
two. Yeah. There was a couple that I kept, but they weren't anything to brag about.
But you got more belts than that now. I can see them.
Yeah, I've got 43. There's 43 in this room, and there's 2 on order. So I'll be up
you're
to
about
40.
to be at your peak again.
I'll be at my peak again.
You got to go ahead and order another one just to be over the threshold, so you can say you're at your peak again.
Oh, I'm sure it'll happen. But I'm going with these themes, so there's not a lot left to get.
Well, when you look back on it, what's the one where you wish you would have kept?
Oh, the NWA World Heavyweight belt that I had previously. Now, I made a boatload of money on that belt because I had it signed by 15 former champions.
Oh, 15 people that held it?
Yeah.
Oh, that's
Now,
strong.
I had 15 former NWA champions, so some of the big gold holders actually had them signed on the back as well, like Ronnie
But still
Ronnie
all
Harvey.
NWA guys.
But I had Harley Race, Dusty Rhodes, Ric Flair, Terry Funk, Dory Funk, Briscoe. I mean,
Everybody who's everybody.
those are pretty impressive. And then you added in
Yeah.
guys like Jeff Jarrett and Barry Windham and Rhino. And
You're not throwing them in the impressive class, I see.
well, they're impressive, but I mean,
I'm just waiting for you to get heat from those.
no, I mean, they're impressive. And
You said those guys are impressive, and then there's Jeff Jarrett. That's basically what I heard.
Well, I mean, I follow Conrad Thompson, so Jeff, I love Jeff, but I'm gonna tell you what, Jeff Jarrett's a hell of a good guy. He really genuinely is. But
I've hung out with him a couple times. He's a super nice guy.
But I mean, if we're talking about Mount Rushmore of NWA champions, he's down there. He's probably down at the bottom with me looking at the Mount Rushmore of NWA champions. And I mean, I don't think that would hurt his feelings.
Well, he wouldn't be the first wrestler you have heat with.
Yeah, well, the other one's Koko. Koko don't know I have heat with him though.
So for those that follow some of our other podcasts, they might have heard or picked up that you have heat with Koko B Ware.
Man, I've hated Koko B Ware since I was 18 or 19 years old. I took
Is
my
it
sister.
public knowledge why you have heat with him?
The story's been told enough now. I mean,
go ahead then.
I mean,
Fill our listeners in.
At least once a week, I get a picture I get inboxed with a picture of Koko B Ware and his bird. But Koko B Ware wasn't always the lovable character with the bird. He used to be part of a tag team called the PYT Express. They wore the Michael Jackson Beat It jackets. It was him
Pretty
and Norvell.
Young Things?
Yeah, they were PYT Express, and they came out to PYT.
Okay.
It was Koko and Norvell Austin. And man, they had nuclear heat at the Sportatorium. And when you had nuclear heat at the Sportatorium, they would take you out the side door. There was a little section that was only 5 rows deep. And I like to sit on that section because I could stand up against the wall. And when people started throwing beers, there was a wall behind me, so I wasn't getting hit with beer. And when people stood up, I could stand up and see what was going on. Well, as they were bringing them out the side door, everybody's yelling at them, and my sister was yelling at them, and Koko.
Now wait,
I'm not going to tell exactly. What's that? I'm 19. The sister's 20. She's 23.
Okay.
And we're on my motorcycle. We came on my motorcycle that night.
Yeah, like a badass that you are,
yeah.
son.
Oh yeah, 2 people on a Yamaha 400 special or 600 special. It was a small motorcycle. So anyway, they come rolling out the aisles, and she's yelling, and Koko looks at her and says he's gonna I mean, he's gonna go ass to mouth on her, okay? And I mean, as horrible as that sounds, it was a lot worse. Well,
so you're saying, yeah, that sounds bad, but you cleaned it up.
Oh yeah, and I'm coming out of the field with my crash helmet because I'm fixing to bust him in the head because I just saw red at that point. That's my sister. So I'm coming with the crash helmet, and she grabs me, David, no, because she knows we're going to jail. And they get them out the door, and I'm hot, man. I've hated Koko Ware ever since. And I mean,
have you seen him at an event?
I've never crossed paths with him.
Well, here's the question: what's happening if you see him? Are you going to get a picture?
I'm going to get a picture with him, and I'm going to share that story with him, and I'm going to say I've been in the wrestling business for 15 years, and I know how it works, and I still hate you.
Yes.
Jeff Jewett got me a cameo from him.
Did he really?
Yes. And at the end of the cameo, he said, "Oh, tell your sister. I understand your sister's a big, huge fan of Koko Ware. So tell your sister that I said hi."
Well, you got to send me the audio. We got to add it to the end of this.
Oh, I'll do it. I'll do
Yeah,
it.
we got to figure out how to get that in it. All right, so you got Eat with Koko. That's an amazing story.
So truth be told, all those years I've hated him for that. But if I met him, I'd get a picture with him and.
I love how you go. I get a picture, but I'd still tell him I hate him.
Oh yeah, I'm telling the story, but I'm gonna laugh when I tell him I hate him. I don't hate him.
Yeah, you do.
But he was out of line. There's a difference between bad guy stuff and describing
nuclear heat, brother. He is
describing sexual assault.
He's getting that nuclear heat, brother.
I mean, she might have been down. She might have been down for it. I don't know. I didn't talk to my sister about those things.
You didn't even care about her reaction. You just got mad.
Oh, I was hot.
Yeah,
Yep.
She didn't tell you, hey, defend my honor. You just immediately went.
No, she turned around and saw me coming with the crash helmet.
Okay. All right, before we get into the countdown and wrap this up, we got to explain how you got to pond water, Dave, because you went from Super Dave. Now you're pond water, Dave. Tell everybody how that came about.
Conrad was talking to Tony and said that Super Dave's going to outlive us all. He's not going to get the COVID because he believes that because he drinks pond water, and it's because I've got this pond on my property.
Right, can't have money.
And he's made fun of me about the pond, and I'm real proud of my pond. And we got it stocked. At one time, and I tell y'all, I'd go out there and catch the fish, and he'd tell Tony that he made fun of me about that. That I think I got these fish, and I'm going out and catching them in the pond, and like I'm a badass or something. And so he's always screwed with me about it. But then he just out of the blue one day said, "Super Dave not gonna get it because he drinks pond water." And then all of a sudden they're calling me Pond Water Dave.
And now you have a pond water rating system.
So I embraced it, and I mean there's no pond water people that's going to come after me, but Conrad garners a lot of attention, so I'd hate for one day the Super Dave people decide to take exception.
Do you have the background ready with one of the pond water ratings?
Yeah, I can do it. Heck,
Because usually when we do,
I got 6 jars of pond water sitting right here.
Wait, let's see some. I would say. Oh God, he cut his video off. Oh, he's back. Okay.
Let me get you.
I was going to say you to get the pond water, but you're going to spill it. You've already spilled your tea.
Oh, I can
there you go. You're going to spill. He's got a 4 pond water rating.
But
So you got your own jars of pond water.
Yeah, my wife made them, and
they have the label Pond Water Dave's on the jar.
Chris McDonald did that Pond Water Dave commercial. Conrad did that commercial episode as a rib for April Fools.
Yeah, that was aired right here on Casio'S Cut as well.
And when he did the Come On Down to Pond Water Dave's on Route 9 in Utica. And it's funny because I don't know that he knows it, but when people make fun of Utica down here, they call it Utica. And he started calling it Utica, and I didn't know. I never even told him that's the joke down here.
The Pond Water Dave's blossom, and now when we watch pay-per-view events or wrestling matches or anything, you give them now pond water ratings on a scale of 0 to what?
Well, I tried to give them 0 to 5. I mean, it's like Meltzer's. Instead of stars, it was jars.
Right.
But then everybody started calling them pond waters. So,
you got 6. Why do you got 6? In case you break one or what?
Well, if it's in Japan, then Meltzer gives it 6. So I give it 6 if it's like on a koi pond.
And then you can have decimals, which would be a mouthful.
Yeah, I don't do quarters, but half would be a mouthful.
Mouthful. Okay.
So
we got the new official rating.
Well, crap, I did it again. And then there's, of course, three pond waters in a mouthful. 3 in a mouthful.
3 jars. 3 jars.
3 jars in a mouthful.
And a mouthful. With the pond in the back.
Yes.
Look at that. That's a good pond. That's a pond to be proud of, my friend. All right.
That's the reason I bought this land. and it had a pond on it. So then
Come on with it.
we buy it, and we got a guy come out to clean it up, and he said, "Hey, y'all know this pond's only about 1.5 feet deep."
Is it shallow?
It was. It's 9
Oh, did
feet
you
deep
dig it
now.
out?
Yeah, we dug it out.
Woo!
Dug it out, made it a little bit bigger, and then
Added
the
fish.
Well, yeah, but here's we by the time we got to digging it out, that hurricane hit Houston, and the storm that left Houston came up here, and almost filled it all the way up.
Oh, you're
So-
rocking and rolling.
So then we stocked it 2 years ago. We put 1,000 minnows. We put 400 brim and 50 bass,
Woo!
and now it's after 2 years. It was catch and release for 2 years, but now we get some pretty good size ones out there.
So how would you rate your pond now?
6 stars.
6 jars.
6 jars.
6 jars and a mouthful. It's the
6
highest
jars
rating.
and a mouthful.
It's the highest rating you can get from Pond Water Dave. All right, we got to
Hey
get.
man, it's just relaxing to go look at it. I mean, I can stand out there and look. Sometimes when I'm out there mowing, I'll just stop and just look at the pond. It relaxes me. I don't know what it is about water that makes it. It's just a beautiful scene out there.
Well, yeah, that's what it's all about, my friend. All right, let's get to the countdown here, which of course we go 10 to 1. He's trying to get his background back off. Go ahead, take it off. There we go. He's back. If you're watching on the YouTube. All right, so we go 10 to 1, 10 questions. As rapid fire as we can do it. You can take as long. I don't mean to answer fast, but we're going to knock these out. Number 10, Super Dave, Pond Water. Name something that's a perfect 10 for you.
My marriage.
Oh, there we go. I knew
I
it was
mean,
going to be my wife.
I know it's cliche, but my wife is, when I moved to Mississippi, I didn't come looking for a wife. I came to work when I moved here, and
Look, I got the dogs excited in the background. Even they agree with you.
so when I met her, and she's a wonderful woman. She changed my life.
She cleaned your tea up in the middle of a podcast. That's pretty bold.
I
Pretty
truly don't.
badass.
I truly don't deserve her, but we have a very, very healthy marriage. We don't argue. We don't fight. Our only argument was I love you more. No, I love you more. I mean,
She puts up with your wrestling stuff. That's big.
man, she bought me a Ric Flair robe from Toys R Us, one of those costume robes, and she's actually putting,
Extra sequins on it.
she's putting the beads, the stones.
Yeah,
She's putting those stones on, the rhinestones, and she's sitting there with tweezers gluing each one of them on there. And I mean, thousands.
Lock her down. Keep her forever, man.
Man, and I mean, she's wonderful. I mean,
The queen of the holiday inn, my friend.
and and life don't get any better. I mean, used to work. I've always had a strong work ethic, and I still do. But work when my job started taking me away from her too much, I changed jobs.
Boom. That's how
And-
you listen up, fellas.
And she's the priority. She's probably the first woman in my entire life I've ever loved more than I love myself.
Woo! Come on, keep preaching, son.
That's when you know.
That's when you know. All right, number 9. Name something you've written off for 2020. It's a little different now that we're in lockdown, but name something you've
Vacations.
written off.
Vacations.
Vacations.
Vacations and easy days at work. I mean, that's all behind me.
That's all over with now. All right, I thought you was going to say steaming oysters.
No, I eat those every.
Sizzling
I
oysters,
learned-
sorry.
I learned something that night. I just don't reach out there and grab them anymore.
So to tell the story, if people have not heard it, we were in New Orleans for WrestleMania. Was that 34? Or was that the first? Was that 30?
No, it was the second one in New Orleans.
Yeah, the second, whatever the second one was in New Orleans.
36, 30, 33, 34.
And so we are at this very fine restaurant, white tablecloth. Got to wear a jacket. Got to wear a button down. Fancy place. And there's a group of us. There's Conrad and the missus, me and my missus. Somebody else was there. Who
My
else
buddy,
was-
my buddy Wayne was with us.
But was it just us six, or was there somebody else?
I think it was just 6 of us.
It was at least that six, maybe another couple. I'll forget. But we're at the soup. It's quiet. It's one of those dimly lit. We get the candles on the table, and you decide to order the appetizer, sizzling oysters.
Yeah, that was
Sizzling.
Conrad. That was Conrad's idea. I'd never had them
Sizzling.
sizzling. I always ate them on the half
Sizzling.
shell. Oh, sizzling. Heavy on the
And I'm
sizzling.
talking about they come to the table like the fajitas at a Mexican restaurant.
Yes.
We are the assholes that are making noise. Everybody's looking at us. We're
They're-
trying to fit in. We don't fit in anyway. And here
Sizzling is
comes-
appropriate.
It looks like a fog machine is attached to these oysters. I've never seen
Yes.
this in my life. They sit them down right in the middle of the table. Big old container of sizzling oysters. And you just gut instinct, just reach out
Conrad said, "Everybody dig in."
and you reach out and about in this quiet, dimly lit, fancy restaurant. And that was the terror, which you screamed. Because
Yeah,
you grabbed a sizzling oyster.
I did. And it burnt the living shit out of me.
What made you grab it? Was it like a
Yeah.
dog in fire? You were just hypnotized?
I didn't consider that the shell was going to be hot. I knew the oyster was going to be hot. It never occurred to me. I never
And
considered it.
you immediately were blistered.
And I was drinking too.
Yeah. You immediately had a swollen, blistered red thumb.
Oh yeah, it was it was bubbling, and so then I take my finger and put it in the butter. Put my thumb in the butter.
As we're trying to fit into this fancy restaurant, our waitress comes back to check on your screams, and you have your thumb in the melted butter.
In the melted butter, because I always heard that if you burned yourself, you got to put it on butter.
Did it
Well,
help?
No, the butter was hot too. So I come out of the butter and I go in my glass of water.
Oh, that was
And
one of my favorite moments of all time.
And that look of like that look Megan had.
Of disappointment and shame
Fucking
and
hillbilly.
embarrassment. All right, number 8. What do you want to be when you die? What do you want to be the last thing you ate? So, I remind everybody, you can do home cooking of some sort. You can mix match. You can order something from somewhere with home cooking. Whatever you want. What do you want your last meal to be if you get to pick
I want steak and scallops.
it?
Steak and scallops.
From a certain place?
Yeah, there's a hibachi place in Texas called
Sticks.
no, it's not Sticks. It's
Is it like a local place?
it's a local place in Mesquite, Texas. I go there all the time when I go visit.
And they make the best steak and scallops.
Kami. It's like kamikaze. Kazi.
Just cause.
And they, yeah, and I'll get the fillet, and they'll cook it in front of me, and they got those huge scallops, and they're good.
Loving it.
I love scallops. There's
All
a place here locally called Rusty's that does bacon wrapped scallops.
Okay.
And they're
You bringing those in?
We can. I don't know if they'd be good
can,
after
it's
a 5-hour drive. I don't know if they'd be good after a 5-hour drive, and I don't know that I wouldn't eat them on the way.
This is a fantasy question.
Oh, yeah, I'm bringing.
So we're bringing everything to you.
Oh yeah, if we're gonna bring it to me, and I can have more than one thing, then I'll get the scallops from Rusty's, and
Okay.
I'll have my stepson grill me a ribeye.
Okay. So he's the jam on the ribeye.
That boy is talented. He can cook.
All right. Do you got any appetizers from anywhere? Maybe one more time, sizzling
Yeah,
oysters.
sizzling
for old time's
oysters.
sake?
the sizzling oysters from down there, New Orleans style that'd be the jam if I'm going out. And for dessert,
Yeah.
I want white chocolate bread pudding from the Gumbo Pot in Vicksburg.
The Gumbo Pot in Vicksburg.
White chocolate
Okay.
bread pudding.
All right. What are you drinking on your last meal? I know you're drinking out of that cup. You always drink out of that cup. What's in it?
Probably sweet tea. Probably sweet tea or
Just a good old sweet tea.
just a good old sweet tea.
All right. That's a good
'Cause I don't
meal
know.
right there.
Because I don't know if that Crown Reserve will go with steak and all of that, but
You got no sides, though. What's your sides?
cream corn from Lowry's the prime rib.
Okay. So you
Cream
got the
corn.
prime rib, cream corn, bacon wrapped scallops. Is that it?
That's it. That's enough.
You don't need greens going out. Who cares about eating healthy on the way out?
That just causes
All
a
right.
mess for the Undertaker.
I think you shoot your drawers anyway on the way out. I don't think greens are going to mess it up.
Oh well, then
All
throw
right,
me then throw me some mustard greens from just any soul food restaurant.
Okay. All right. Number 7. What did you want to be when you were 7 years old? What did you want to be when you grew up?
I want to be a CPA.
A CPA.
My
Was that an
uncle.
accountant?
Certified public accountant.
All right.
My uncle was an accountant, and he was only my grandmother had 3 sons. My dad had 2 brothers, and 2 of them were in the grocery business, and my uncle Buddy was a CPA. Graduated from SMU. I mean,
So 7, you're like, that's
he
the
was-
coolest on the planet right there.
well, I mean, he wasn't work. I mean, I didn't know how hard he was working hard.
Right.
Um,
But as a kid, you just see him, you think this is the jam.
yeah, he's got the big house with the swimming pool and the nice car, and
Waterbed.
oh, he was, you know,
He was a stud.
I realized at an early age that Uncle Buddy had had everything nicer than we did.
That's all that counted as a kid.
And my dad told me there was that Buddy found an easier way to make a living. So, I mean,
Oh, being an accountant.
yeah, you could.
I thought that was code. I thought you were about to tell me we found out
work-
later Uncle Buddy was selling drugs.
No.
Uncle Buddy. He found out that he's-
I'm gonna tell you, it's a sad ending to Uncle Buddy though, because he had bought him a historic home on Swiss Avenue right outside of downtown Dallas, 3-story historic home in the historic district. I mean, the trees, and you had to have insurance on the trees in your yard.
Oh,
I mean,
jeez.
That's how nice this neighborhood is. And he was restoring this house, and he got up to go file quarterly taxes one night. They had company over, so he went late to go drop it off at the post office, and got hit head on by a drunk driver,
Oh,
and he killed him.
jeez.
42 years old, and I mean, he just got to. He was rolling. I mean, his career was where it needed to be, and he worked for this large firm called Lomas and Nettleton that was in Dallas. And my dad always told me after that if he wouldn't have died, Lomas and Nettleton never would have gone broke. But
And that, folks, is why we're the Sad News Bears. You just dropped that on us, right?
there you go, sad news alert. But the good news is I've never drove drunk for that reason.
Oh, that lesson got you.
I can always hate that guy as long as I don't put myself in that position.
There you go. All right, number 6. A little weird after that last story, but how do you want to end up 6 feet under? How do you want to go out?
During coitus. No, I'm kidding. I was going to say that, and then
Why not?
then it traumatized my old lady, and she would never replace me. She'd never want to do that again.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
But no, seriously, I'd like to. One night when I go to sleep, I just go to sleep and don't wake up. I want to go peaceful.
Just peaceful in your sleep. All right. There you go. Number 5, 5-finger discount. What's the last thing you stole?
I stole a pen from Dollar General today.
Today?
Yeah, I used their pen. I used their pen to mark something, and instead of putting it back on the clipboard, I dropped it in my bag.
I think in Corona times, you're supposed to keep pens now.
Well, I didn't have
that's
my
the
own,
rules.
but I didn't do it. I didn't do it on purpose. I noticed when I got back to the DC, I grabbed my pen to put my name and my name and my route number on my checks for the day, and I'm looking at pen. I'm like, I took their pen.
All right, so what's the last? We know you have a history with shoplifters, so maybe you don't have a long history of stealing. What's the last thing you went? Yeah, I stole that.
Her heart.
Okay, here we go. Are you a hotel thief? Do you steal things from the hotel room?
I've been known to take I always get all the shampoos. I get all the shampoos and soaps, and
Do you order extra?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
You ever taken the remote?
Never took the remote.
You took the batteries out of the remote?
Took an ice bucket once.
An ice bucket?
Took an ice bucket once.
Just to have at the Holiday Inn or what?
Well, no, this was years and years ago.
Oh, it was years ago. All right, so I should have known with your shoplifting history. There's not a lot of thievery in your life. All right, number 4, the big question, of course, it kind of started the countdown and all these questions. Mount Rushmore of Little Debbie's.
Oatmeal cream pie.
Okay.
Swiss roll.
Mm-hmm.
I like those cupcakes with the white squiggles. It's kind of like a Hostess cupcake, but Little Debbie's. Yep. And Little Debbie's uses buttercream. That ain't oil, like Hostess. And then the last one is the Christmas tree. You can't beat the Christmas tree.
Christmas tree cake. All right. Those are classics. Those are classics right there.
The oatmeal just creeped in the last few years, though.
Because you're getting older. That's standard procedure. What did it bump out? What did the oatmeal bump out? Or was it always top 4? It's just moving up to the top.
The lemon bar.
The lemon bar?
Yeah.
Well,
they don't have the lemon bar anymore, but the lemon bar was to die for. An honorable mention to the Star Crunch with the shout out to Ron Funches, because that microwave trip that's some good stuff.
That is. Ron Funches is the life hack on the Star Crunch. Put it in the microwave.
It makes the Star Crunch edible.
If you need the exact recipe, you got to go back and listen to the Ron Funches. He'll tell you exactly how long to do it. And if you watch on YouTube, I butchered it. I went too long and burnt my mouth. All right. This is going to be a fun one. Number 2, which wrestler would be your tag team partner if you were in it right now today?
Brock Lesnar.
Brock?
Yeah, lovers and fighters. I'm a lover. He's a fighter.
I was about to say you'd look like twins with Danny DeVito and Arnold Schwarzenegger. That'd be great. To see y'all come out, that would be awesome. What about back in the day? It's got to be a Von Erich, right?
Oh, yeah. It's David Von Erich all day, every day.
There you go. And number 1, you've got all that memorabilia back there. Something happens and you can only keep one piece of memorabilia that you have in your house or wherever that you have right now. You can only get to keep one. Which would it be?
It's going to be my NWA World Heavyweight title, made by Dave Milliken. I've got it autographed on the front by Ric Flair in gold paint pen. Got it autographed on the back by Harley Race.
Come on.
And I've got a few more. I mean, Ken Shamrock autographed it. Dan the Beast Severn. Christian autographed it.
Those are killer names.
I let Shane Douglas autograph it, even though he threw it in trash.
All right, and we got
Rick signed it on the front, though. I wouldn't let anybody else sign. Tommy Rich signed it. Tommy Rich signed it right. He signed it right in the middle, just the biggest autograph on it, right in the middle.
A wildfire.
Because I wasn't paying attention, and that was originally going to be the Ric Flair spot. Then I got to thinking, but then I had the idea for the Flair wall, and I was like, the way I'm displaying it, I wanted Flair's autograph on the front.
Yeah, so everybody can see that since it's on the wall.
Oh yeah.
That's strong. So we got to end on this. We got to end on one story because everybody asks on Twitter. Everybody wants to know if they haven't heard you tell it on other podcasts. You got to tell us about the time you got shot.
That's what started the whole Super Dave thing. This is sad news. Well, this isn't a sad news bearer alert because I can tell this because I can laugh about it now and it had a good outcome. I was leaving work one night and it was late. And as I came outside, as I came around, the guy there's 3 of them, but he stepped out from the corner and held a gun on me and turned me around, put a gun back in my head and had me leaning over the car. Well, there was a woman with me. It was my ex-wife's best friend. And the reason she was there, I didn't feel good this night. I didn't feel good. And she's a single
like
mom.
a bad feeling, or you were sick?
No, I didn't feel good. Just I
were
was
sick.
sick.
Okay.
Yeah, sick. Just didn't. I was out of it. And anyway, we're going to loan her $100. Single mom. Well, she came down to the store to get it, so I wouldn't have to drive by there and drop it off on my way home. Because my work days we were open for 14 hours, so sometimes it'd be 16 hours by the time I got out of there. And so she came down there. She got there right before closing time, and she hung out with me while I finished all my work. And as we came out, I guess they thought that she was there to pick up all the money, because they the one held me down on the car with the gun. The other two went over there and took her purse. So as they cleared, he went ahead and shot me, and I was completely relaxed. I mean, he
So
didn't.
No warning or nothing. Nothing like.
I never believed he was going to shoot me. I was irritated. Let's get this over with. I want to go home. I don't feel good. And he went ahead and popped me. Well, when he did, the first thing I did is I went down to one knee, and I was like, "Oh shit, I'm shot."
From the back?
Yeah, he got me. I don't know if y'all can see it. That's right there.
Damn.
So, but he had it pressed to the back of my head, and he shot me. Well, the first thing I thought is, "Oh shit, I'm shot." And then I'm like, "Well, why are you down on your knees, dumbass? Get up. You're not dead. Call for help." So I stood up and I walked over to the payphones. We had 2 payphones right outside the store, and I couldn't get either one of them to work. The girl that's with me, she's screaming and freaking out.
All right.
Well,
and they just ran off?
Yeah. So I go inside. I'm going to go in the store and I'm going to call 911. And immediately I just got some life insurance like 2 weeks before this. Well, in my mind, it was, if I die, my insurance isn't going to pay, because it's got to be a year. Well, that's a year of natural causes. I didn't know that not only would it have paid, it would have been double indemnity. Is that how they say it? It'd have paid double.
Close enough for us.
It would have paid double. See, I had a wife and 2 small children at the time. I mean,
you wanted to take care of them.
And I was worried about them. Yeah. So I'm letting myself back in, because I'm wearing this jacket, like a varsity jacket, and I have the money pouch down in my sleeve.
So they didn't even get the money that
they didn't get the no. I didn't volunteer it up.
Right.
They didn't take my billfold.
You let them take her purse. Thanks, Dave.
They took her purse. So anyway, I let myself back in the store, and I ask her, "You coming in?" And she's still freaking out. Well, I don't have time for this, so I locked the door. And there's a payphone. There's a payphone. Well, I don't want people coming in the store.
Yeah.
Because I'm bleeding. I'm in my mind.
How bad it is?
No, I think the bullet's in my jaw, because my jaw was real warm.
Okay.
I think the bullet's stuck in my jaw.
Not a lot of pain right now.
No, I'm in shock.
Yeah.
I'm just that warm feeling in my jaw, because I'm bleeding, because I didn't know it was coming out here. I thought all the blood was coming from back here. So I come inside and I pick up the payphone and I call 911. And while I've got them on the phone, the alarm goes off. And I've told them, so I just go ahead and I drop the phone and I head over across the store to the office. Well, when you come into the office, we have like a wood frame chain link fence, and we chain it up and we padlock it. So now I'm unlocking the padlock and unchaining, because I know the alarm company is going to call, and I need to get into where the phone I can answer is. So I answer the phone. I tell the alarm companies what's happened. They're going to call 911, give them my information. And I tell them, "So, okay, I'm bleeding real bad. I'm going to go back outside, because if I pass out, they're never going to get in here to me. They'd have to cut through all those bars. They're not getting in here. The store's in a real bad neighborhood. It was, I mean, wrought iron everywhere.
Mhm.
So I walk up and I reach in, and I get the money, and I throw the money behind the checkout stand. And I go and I let myself out. And by that time, the alarm's going off. The girl's freaking out. There's people around, had gathered around by this point. So they sit me down, and the police come up, and he kind of shines a light on me, and I tell him what's happened, and an ambulance came, and uh, I'm trying to tell her what to do. I don't remember, but there was a man there, a regular customer, and I gave him the keys to my truck, and I asked him to, park my truck down at your house so nothing happened to it. And
Wow.
the medic, the EMTs get there. Well, this was before cell phones. This was 27 years ago. And so calling, the payphones don't work. So calling my wife to tell her what happened, this process isn't going on right now. So my brother-in-law is paramedic, though. He's on Dallas Fire Department. He's paramedic. So one of them said, "Hey, are we going to take him to Parkland?" And the other one said, "No, this is Stovall's brother. Let's take him to Baylor." And Baylor was closer to Parkland. So they called my brother-in-law and told my brother-in-law what had happened. So my brother-in-law was able to call the family. And so they get me there, and they roll me into the emergency room, and they take me in, and I'm trying to be funny. I'm asking them, "Hey, am I going to die?" And
You
then
still got no pain. You're still in shock, right?
I'm still in shock. And when they put the IV in me in the emergency room is when the pain hit.
Really?
The pain hit. That's what took me out of shock. And when that happened, it started hurting, and it hurt real bad. And then they put me under immediately. I was out. And
at that point, you didn't know how bad you were hurt.
No, they took me to radiology, and my head swelled. My head came out and sat down on my shoulder. They said it was bigger than a basketball. But the radiologist knew what to do. So the radiologist saved my life right there. And then they took me right into surgery, and they assembled a team. And this was like in the middle of the night. And they brought this plastic surgeon in. His name was Dr. Rod Rourke. And in Dallas, Dr. Rod Rourke was a big deal. He was the number 2 guy at Southwest Medical Center. And he was teaching them. He was teaching them. And now I just got lucky. It was his turn in the rotation. And they came in, and they operated on me and put me back together, and they used part of my rib. They took one of my ribs to build all this. And so this whole side of my face is reconstructed.
What?
And I woke up. Yeah, right here you can see the little bump in my eyelid. There's a piece of gold in there.
Gold?
They used a piece of gold to weight it down so I could blink because I have some nerve damage.
The gold weights your eyelid down?
Yeah.
Wow.
So how I didn't get the nickname Golden Eye, I don't know. But so I wake up, and for me, I was in a coma. They put me in a coma to keep me still. So they gave me 14 units of blood and platelets. I wake up several times during the week. I'm in and out. And but I remember seeing a friend of mine from high school there. I remember seeing I was looking at the ceiling, and I guess one of those popcorn ceilings, and it looked like I was able to communicate because I was ventilated. And to me, it looked like a crystal angel was floating over me. And my dad said, that's the morphine. He said, "That's the morphine, son." He said, "They only give you the morphine when they figure you ain't going to make it anyway."
You said you remember a friend. You mean you imagined him?
No, I saw it. He came.
Remember seeing him?
People came all week to visit me.
Okay.
But
I
in
didn't
my
know if that
mind,
was like another morphine dream.
No, but in my mind, there's only a few people I remember, but it was people that I wouldn't have expected to come visit me. Because at that point, I've been out of school for 10 years.
High school friend, Koko B Ware.
High school sweetheart.
Okay.
But anyway, I went in on a Thursday night, and I came out of my coma on a Friday. And to me, I thought it was just one night, not a week. I'd been out for a week. But once I woke up and I was communicating with them. I mean, I'm still ventilated, and they took that out, but they left the feeding tubes in for the weekend. And I'll never forget that Sunday. I had it was the Sunday that the Dallas Cowboys put Landry in the Ring of Honor. And that's what was on the TV. And the doctor came and she pulled the tubes out of my nose. And when she did, I coughed and it hit her in blood. She got blood on her and she freaked out. I mean, she freaked out.
Right.
And I'm apologizing. And my mother and my ex-wife were about to rip her head off.
Because she was mad at you?
Yeah, because they're pulling this out and the way she yelled at me like I did it on purpose. But let me tell you the story of when I woke up, what the activity was that was going on when I woke up.
All right.
I was the proud recipient of a sponge bath.
Okay.
The nurse that gave me the sponge bath looked like Nicole Kidman from Days of Thunder. And here I am, I'm laying there, and I've got this thing that I can't talk. And it's kind of an uncomfortable situation. And I'm thinking I should say something witty. And I guess it's probably good that I didn't have the ability.
Are you enjoying the sponge bath? You weren't enjoying the sponge bath.
No.
Yeah, okay.
I mean,
I was going to say, that would have really made it awkward.
But I mean, but I've quickly made note that this chick looks like Nicole Kidman from Days of Thunder. Hello, nurse.
You're like, maybe I did die and go to heaven.
Yeah. Well, they came in and told me that there was no medical reason that I lived. They did everything they could, but there was no medical reason because they almost lost me twice. So
they had to shock you back?
I don't think they ever shocked me.
Oh,
they
said
the hemorrhage. With the blood flow, being able to stop the bleeding. I mean,
so the bullet came all the way out?
It shattered my jaw and came out. It came out right here under my eye.
Jeez, man.
And she's lucky she didn't get hit with it because it cracked the top of her windshield on her car.
That's crazy. Did we never found the dudes?
No, I was told later. The neighborhood got really quiet on this. They did Crime Stoppers came out and did a video, and then they don't do Crime Stoppers videos exactly like it happened because they want somebody to point out the difference in the story so they know it's real tips.
Yeah, the guilt, they call it guilty evidence or whatever.
Yeah, so Crime Stoppers made it look like I had a girlfriend.
Well, this is like Netflix's Unsolved Mysteries. Those dudes are still at large.
But somebody told me that the guys that got me killed a Domino's pizza delivery man and threw him over the Trinity River Bridge. I looked at pictures of them, and I couldn't tell. But I did everything they say that you're supposed to do in that situation. I didn't stare at them. I didn't argue. I didn't beg and plead. I didn't show fear. I mean,
you just did what you're told and tried to move on.
Right. Let's get this over with. I'm ready to go to the house.
Do you know what that means? From now on, you got to beg and plead and fight them.
No, it's going to be a fight. I'm not going. Well, I was never. I was never unarmed after that either. I started coming out the door. I had a 12-gauge shotgun.
All I had to do walking tall, son.
I was. And I hope that I didn't ever have to use it, but I wasn't going alone if it ever happened again.
Well, dude,
I grew up in that neighborhood and I got careless. Didn't think it could happen to me. And I'll assure you, those guys that got me were not from our neighborhood.
That's crazy, man.
They came from a different area.
Well, if you know anything that night, what night was it? Come on. What's the date?
Thursday, the October the. See, Halloween was on Sunday, the 31st. You go back 7, would have been the 24th, 23rd, 22nd. October 21st, 1993.
If anybody saw anything in the Dallas area, 3 men running from a store, you need
One
to
of them was
contact us.
One of them was wearing an Emmitt Smith jersey, and it wasn't a traditional Emmitt Smith jersey. It was a black Emmitt Smith jersey. But I remember
Okay.
he was wearing an Emmitt Smith jersey.
We need all the clues, man. We need all the clues, Pond.
And he shot me either with a 22 or a 25. The police insisted that it wasn't an automatic because they couldn't find a casing.
Okay.
And I said, trust me, if I didn't see anything else, I saw the gun. But maybe it could have been what they call a Saturday night special.
Yeah.
But
Well,
they said what saved me was that he had it pressed to my head. I had a 22 and a 25. I could have swore that's what it was. But the way, if he had it pressed to my head, if he would have just backed off a little bit, then it would have killed me. Because by pressing it to my head, the bullet didn't tumble. The bullet came out of the barrel and straight through. But on those little short snub-nosed guns, the bullet comes out spinning. So it wasn't able to tear up anything because it just came through, hit my jaw, came out under my eye. So for me to not have any hearing damage, vision problems, I mean, they relatively.
You got full vision in the eye.
I do.
I can't believe you didn't lose your eye.
I didn't lose my eye. I mean, just a little nerve damage. That was it.
That's wild, man.
And they put me back together. I mean, really well. I mean,
I didn't know you had full reconstruction.
Yeah. So sometimes now that you'll notice it when the light hits me. That I may squint, but this one, I mean, when I sneeze, my eye doesn't close.
God, I wish you had Pepper right now just to see you sneeze.
But
just to see you sneeze.
No, that wouldn't be cool because I got artificial sinus. Wearing this mask is a challenge for me. I mean, there's times I just have to move it and breathe because my face will start getting tingly and I'll start.
What mask? Oh, you got a CPAP?
No, I wear a mask when I'm out servicing.
Oh, you mean a quarantine mask?
I'm being responsible. We're in a pandemic.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, the pandemic mask.
But
now? It causes you problems? How?
When I'm busy and I start breathing, my breathing I'll start breathing heavy, and I'll start hyperventilating a little bit. I can feel it starting to tingle, and then I'll just move the mask and I'll breathe because I've got artificial sinus.
What is it? They bring other bones, or what they do?
They just built it. I'm not sure if it's plastic or.
That's wild.
But if I took nasal spray right now and I shot myself in the nose, you'd see it come out my eye.
Oh, gosh. Well, there you go. There's another human trick we need.
But when I'd go for my follow-up visits, my plastic surgeon, he had a nice office. I mean, he did lots of cosmetic surgery.
Yeah.
I mean, he was facelifts and boob jobs, brother.
He's got some plus twos on his resume.
But when I'd go in there, he had like a professional photo studio. And they take me in there, and he was taking all these pictures. Well, after a couple visits, and I asked him, I said, do you take everybody's picture like that? And he said, no. He said, I take those because I use you as a teaching tool over at Southwest. He said, because what we did to you, what happened to you don't normally turn out that well. So you're the exception, not the rule. And he said we all became plastic surgeons to do the work we did on you. We do facelifts and boob jobs to pay for it.
Mm-hmm.
He said that we do that to make a living, but what we did to you is why we do it. So apparently I turned out better than what they normally did.
Well, buddy, you've turned out to be a great episode. You've turned out to be the star of the show on the Sad News Bears, the breakout star, and you're the belt pope, you're Pond Water, you're Super Day, brother. Thank you, man. I appreciate you joining me tonight.
I appreciate you having me. I'm a fan of the show. I listen to it all the time.
Well, I appreciate it, brother, and look forward to doing another Sad News Bears with you next week. If y'all want to check that out, go to adfreeshows.com and check out what you can get over there. We're one of the many free shows that you get with your subscription. Of course, this is free. Make sure if you are listening, you like and subscribe wherever you're at and rate us and do all that good stuff. If you're not watching, go watch it next time. Go give it a shot. You can see how beautiful Dave's face turned out here. And you can do that. Casio'S Cut. Look that up on YouTube. Make sure you subscribe and like and comment and the whole deal there. Follow Dave on Twitter at SuperDave39183. You can follow him there and tell him you enjoyed him on the show today. Super Dave, appreciate it, brother. And as always, we always say we better stop before we get embarrassed. I think we did that.
That ship sailed 30 minutes ago.
And with that, adios, muchachos.
Thank you for having me.
Hey, Super Dave, the Birdman is here, brother. Congratulations on your retirement for being the best referee in the world. Man, I wish you could have refereed some of my matches. Maybe I could have won all of them. Super Dave, enjoy yourself. And tell your sister I said hello and thank her for being one of the biggest fans out there for the Birdman. Okay? All right, you got it.